Hey YouTube, Alan back with another video, and this time I'm going to just give some thoughts on the latest Nintendo Direct. And I haven't done one of these in a while, this kind of like state of play Nintendo Direct or E3 style, thoughts or review or whatever you want to call it. But there was a big reason why I wanted to do this one, and it is the main talking point, and it is, of course, Goldeneye. So, in short, did I enjoy the Nintendo Direct? It's kind of like, yes, I did. I really, really did. And of course, I'm going to talk about Goldeneye. It's also coming to the Xbox series as well. So the heavens have aligned, and 25 plus years of legal difficulties and challenges and all that sort of stuff that stopped it appearing in the past. There had been rumors that Goldeneye was going to come out on the Wii Virtual Console, and it was going to be the Xbox Live Arcade kind of remake, and I think that leaked a while back, but never happened. Reasons why, it's very hard to know, but when you have bondholder rights, publishers, mixed developers, all that sort of stuff, it will always seem like a crazy thing to actually, return, even if there is a lot of nostalgia. And for me, this is my original game from the 90s. I played this so much. I love this game so much. It is part of the reason why the N64 is up there with the Master System as the kind of like my go-to. This is my system, or these are my systems. I have played this completely through again a couple of years ago, and I do believe it holds up. And I think I did a video on this a while back, or a couple of years back now. And of course, Nintendo Switch Online. I've been playing the heck out of this. I've played through most of the games. I've played most of the games on it, period, and I've completed quite a number of them. Yes, there are a lot of the games I grew up with. Yes, it's all nostalgia. But you know what? For a quick, convenient way to kind of play modern or play N64 games on a modern platform with the right controller, and this is key for me, you need this controller to play a lot of these games as they were intended. I mean, if you look at, say, something like Ocarina of Time, the button layout is very much designed with the N64 controller in mind. The way the camera controls work in Mario 64 very much work around this controller. Even GoldenEye with the kind of controller setup works around this controller. And I feel that this, coupled with reasonably solid emulation, is perfect. No, that's fine. It doesn't have to be perfect, unless you're counting frames. It's solid enough. It gets the job done, and you can play it portably and all that sort of stuff. Online multiplayer. Whoa. That's just blows my mind that coming soon, whenever it was, please give us a date, we could be playing GoldenEye online. If I could go back to my younger self in college and stuff like that and say, hey, this GoldenEye we're playing in, all your friends and all that sort of stuff, you could do that over the internet. I don't think I would have believed you, because, well, we had dial-up at the time, and that wouldn't have meant for a great experience. So, yeah, I was just so stoked when that happened that I said, do you know what? I got to do a video about the overall Nintendo Direct. And so let's take a few steps back. Let's talk about the Direct itself. Opened up with, what was it? It was Fire Emblem. Now, I'm not a big Fire Emblem fan. I played a little bit of the series, but not much. What I seen seems solid. Anime style and whatnot. The core gameplay mechanics seem Fire Emblem-y. It seems to be tying into my nostalgia. I seen Marta, I recognized him. I was like, oh yeah. But a solid entry, it's another kind of key Nintendo franchise. Nice way to open the show. I know there had been leaks, and these leaks, sometimes I kind of think they spoil these shows. Because if you hadn't expected a Fire Emblem to open it up, you would have been, oh my god, a new Fire Emblem. But everyone's like, oh yeah, I see the leaks. And actually, on the topic of leaks, some of the things that didn't show up were supposedly leaked. Zelda Wii U ports, Wind Waker and the Twilight Princess HD, they weren't there. Will they come at some point? I'd kind of suspect so, but they weren't there. Some people get disappointed. Metroid Prime remaster, that has been leak, and again, no sign of it. And the anniversary, and maybe it doesn't exist, who knows? But people then get disappointed that these things that Nintendo have not promised us, that they don't show up. It's like, well, you weren't promised this game by anyone but some leaker on the internet, so I don't know. So they weren't there, and that caused a little bit of disappointment. But I think it's better to focus on what was there and what was the balance. So we've just had Splatoon 3 launch, huge launch, and updates for that. We have more updates coming for Xenoblade. We got more updates coming from Switch Sports. We got more updates coming from Mario Strikers. For Mario Kart, the new DLC was just teased as well. Lots of games are getting active support, which is nice to see, and keep people busy. Obviously, this was focused for kind of like the next 6 months outlook. So a lot of games are just getting the support coming to Christmas. We obviously have Pokemon. January we got Fire Emblem, and the very big piece at the end was getting the date for Zelda. I was going to say Twilight Princess, but no, it's Tears of the Kingdom. Really very short trailer, almost more of a teaser trailer, and I'm curious. Nintendo have been very coy about showing this game. I don't know, is that to kind of just keep suspense? I've heard some people say, oh, it must mean that the Switch 2 is launching. It could, but this is going to run on Switch 1. That's not a reason to be coy about it. Twilight Princess was cross-gen. The original Breath of the Wild was cross-gen. They showed those off plenty before the successor came out. So I don't know. I think they're just trying to withhold some of the big marketing blowout until the next year. As I said, Splatoon just launched. They've got Pokemon coming up. They want to focus on those. And Nintendo's marketing has changed in general. They kind of wait for just a little bit before it and then go big. So I wasn't too shocked when it wasn't a big trailer, but I would have liked a bit of a better trailer. What was it? Yeah, May is the release date, which is fine. Plenty to keep going if you look at what I just mentioned. The other game that was announced midway through, I think, the Direct, that would have been the big kind of tentpole titles, was, of course, Pikmin 4. I say announced because Shigeru Miyamoto, who did the announcement, he has mentioned Pikmin 4 like years ago. Oh, it was nearly completion, all that sort of stuff. But we've never seen anything. This is clearly one of his baby franchises. You know, I mean, he clearly has a soft spot and gets to push it, even though in the grand scheme of Nintendo franchises, it's not huge at all. It does have that little different appeal, though. Like, Nintendo don't have like an RTS style game, so it does fit. And Pikmin 3 Deluxe did quite well. I think it's the best selling game in the series. As soon as, by the way, he came up, I was like, okay, well, we're probably going to get an update on like the Mario movie or something like that. And if he does talk about a game, it would be Pikmin. And I did notice he was completely covered. His shirt was covered. I said, that's he's hiding something there. So especially when he started talking about Pikmin Bloom, the mobile game, I was like, we're not getting a big long spiel about the bloody mobile game unless they're going to announce Pikmin 4. And sure enough, they did. Kind of surprised that there was no gameplay footage. I mean, there was a CG type of thing, I think, but that's a bit unusual for a game that's been in development for a while and is coming out next year. So curious to see what goes there. Definitely nice addition. So the other, I think, Nintendo piece then, Nintendo game that's sort of new, would be Kirby Return to Dreamland Deluxe or Remake or whatever. I have that on the Wii. It's a good game. It's one of the better Kirby games that I've played. So I think it was a good pick. I know some people said, why didn't Rainbow Curse or whatever the Wii U one get ported? I'd have to assume the Canvas Curse, Rainbow Curse games weren't huge sellers. I really did like Canvas Curse actually on the DS. And they really, yes, you could change the control style, but they do, well, you want a kind of a stylus to control them. So I just don't think they're the best fit for the Switch, even if you could make them work. So it probably does make sense to go back. And Nintendo do want to start doing the remake or remasters of other titles because they've mined the Wii U well a lot, so they got to go further back now. But for those that haven't played it or haven't played it in a while, I think it's going to be another decent title. And between Forgotten Realm or Forgotten Lands and this one, I think Kirby fans have gotten plenty, to be happy about. What else was there on the Direct then? Oh yes, there was farming sims galore. I think that's kind of amusing that the way gaming tends to go is certain trends tend to hit. So you get your like Space Marine shooters and everyone's making those, or you get your, in this case, farming games or farming sims. So obviously things like Animal Crossing and Stardew Valley and some of the story seasons have kind of like become popular. and that direct had a number of them. It had Story Seasons, A Wonderful Life remake, which actually looked pretty decent. That was a good GameCube game. Then you had, was it Fee Story or Fee Fables, or I can't remember the title of that one. It looked okay. Harvestella from Square Enix. I think there was one or two more. And on the Japanese NSO update, there was also Harvest Moon 64, which we don't seem to be getting because of the presumably licensing issues between Natsume and Marvelous. So that's kind of pity. But yeah, plenty of those kind of social games, those farming sim games. And as I said, I think I'm missing some. Oh, Rune Factory. There was Rune Factory 3 or 4, and there was Rune Factory 6 as well, sort of announced. So there was plenty of farming games, if you like farming games. But I know some people say, oh, it didn't have a lot of big hitters in terms of third-party support. There was a hell of a lot. It wasn't just all farming games. There was lots of little games that was sprinkled throughout the direct. And I think this actually marks a big contrast. The state of play that Sony did was all like just big kind of blockbuster style games. Nintendo Direct had a lot of, it had the Nintendo kind of more blockbuster games, but it also had a lot of kind of like the medium stuff games and the smaller stuff, and it kind of gives you that different flavor. And I like that because you want to try different things and play different games and be, have a lot of different representation. Square Enix had a ton of games. I can't even remember. I know Octopath 2 was out, which surprisingly was multi-platform because that was predominantly, made big on the Switch and was HD 2D stuff. I'd say that will do quite well. There was Theatre Rhythm, that looked interesting as well. There was obviously Harvestella, as I mentioned, and there was another one, another kind of HD 2D style game, something about daily activities or something like that. So they had a lot of, Front Mission, first two remakes, and they're going to remake the third one, so like plenty of Square Enix. Crisis Core, in fact, I think other than Nintendo, Square Enix easily had the biggest representation there. There was Fatal Frame, which was a decent looking port, and on the less decent side of ports, you had the Resident Evil games. Now, normally you'd say, oh, you're getting Resident Evil 7, 8, Resident Evil 2 remake, I don't know, was 3 listed in there as well. Oh, that's great. But they're all the cloud versions. And I think this is a very slippery slope, and I really don't get the value in those, because as soon as the server goes off, like you pay full price as if you're buying a game, but as soon as the server's turned off, you've got nothing. I mean, at least with a subscription service, like a Game Pass or even the NSO stuff, you get a wealth of games all for the one subscription price, and you know that you're just consuming the subscription, and as soon as you stop your subscription, it's gone. Like, it's kind of like part of the package, part of the deal. But with the cloud stuff, it's just, I don't know, I just don't get it. It just feels a waste. I suppose if you want to play those games and there's no other way to play them portably, maybe. But Square Enix did it with the Kingdom Hearts games, and I didn't like it there either. And we've seen a few others. There was a rumor before of a Resident Evil game, maybe Resident Evil Revelations 3 or something like that, coming to the Switch and natively, but that doesn't seem to have panned out. On the whole, I think Capcom have been very weird on the Switch. Big effort, big release in Monster Hunter Rise and Sunbreak, and then Monster Hunter Stories was a nice, smaller but big title. Then they had like a few Mega Man and Ace Attorney have done well, but beyond that, like it's like just cloud games and ports. It's like, seriously, you've ported your Resident Evil engine to do Monster Hunter, and you didn't make a Resident Evil game? What was that all about? So yeah, I don't get it. I mean, I played Resident Evil 2 Remake. It's a good game, but the cloud, nah. I much prefer when developers put the effort in to do something like The Witcher 3 or Doom or what was that one? The space one, No Man's Sky, where they actually put a bit of effort and actually have it ported over, and you always have it. So down with the cloud stuff. That's why I was more taken by Fatal Frame, at least, or what did he call it over here? I don't think it's called Fate or Spirit Camera, or I don't know. It's not a series I've played too much. But Spirit Camera, that's the 3DS game. Fatal Frame is one version of, and it's got another name elsewhere. So what else was there? I'm trying to think now. Did I miss anything? Nothing much from the likes of Sega. I thought they might have thrown in a Sonic trailer that came afterwards, but Sega have not been a big supporter, I suppose, on the Switch, so it's not that shocking. again, maybe some of the other kind of third parties like Namco, Bandai could have had a little bit more showing as well. But again, at this point, it's not shocking. EA had that you've been turned into small puppety thing games that looked interesting enough. There was, yeah, as I said, there was plenty of little bits to just keep people interested with different genres represented, and overall, I think very solid. I actually forgot. I got so blown away by Goldeneye because that was just like my mind blown moment. I didn't actually talk about the rest of the NSO updates until Goldeneye was shown. I was actually kind of going, I'm not too sure about this, because they went Mario Party 1, Mario Party 2, Mario Party 3, Pokemon Stadium 1, Pokemon Stadium 2, and I was like, I hope you don't release those sequentially, one after each, like January Mario Party 1, February Mario Party 2, March Mario Party 3, like that, because that would be, if you're not into Mario Party or Pokemon Stadium, that would be a long 6 months before you actually got a different game. And the other games, Pilot Wings, is it Pilot Wings 64? It is. Great game. I really like that, and I would definitely recommend revisiting that. 1080 Snowboarding, that's one I always want to give a bit more of a go, so I will do. Excitebike 64, same. And that was it. So I was like, wow, if you don't like Mario Party and Pokemon, yikes, that was only 3 games. And I suppose you look at the games that are released on the NSO N64 subscription and kind of go, most of the big hitters are probably there. There are third parties and licensed stuff like GoldenEye that are always going to be more challenging, or Perfect Dark, or Blast Core, or any of the rare stuff, basically Diddy Kong Racing. But I think like Donkey Kong 64 is not there. What's that all about? You know, that could have gone in. And I know some people don't think it's the best game. And yes, it was developed by Rare, but it's been on the Virtual Console on Wii and Wii U. Come on now. You know, it's owned by Nintendo. That one shouldn't be a problem. So there is a few bits more I think they could put on it before we've mined that one dry. No other NSO update. There was no like Game Boy or Game Boy Color or Game Boy Advance or anything like that added. No other systems. No Mega Drive updates. I thought there might have been a few. So it's a little surprising on that front, because this time last year, and it seems to be around September, they give the NSO kind of push because they want people to resubscribe. So they would have got a whole bunch of people subscribing for N64 and Mega Drive, and then the extra expansion pass stuff. Their year will be up, and it's a case of, do you want to renew? And come to think of it, my year is going to be up pretty soon. So you kind of want to give that extra incentive. For many, like me, they probably just went, GoldenEye, oh well, there we go, that's my subscription, thanks. I will definitely pay for that, you know. But for others, they would probably want a bit more. So overall, I thought it was very good. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was well paced. That's another thing about the Nintendo Directs. They've gotten a lot better compared to the early days of Nintendo Directs. The pacing is just boom, 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 or click, because they switch thing. You know, yeah, okay, maybe you're not that interested in this game, but the next one will be along pretty quickly. And even like if you look at the Bayonetta trailer, like they had a short trailer just kind of showing a little bit of the story stuff, blah, blah, blah. And then it said, hey, if you want to see a more in-depth trailer on the gameplay, which is 7 minutes long, it'll be on the channel after the Direct. So for those that are really interested in Bayonetta and want to dive in, there you go. And also, speaking about kind of like the release schedule and filling out with games of different variety, there's another one. You know, Bayonetta, there's easy gloss over. Oh, yeah. Because people will say, oh, it only had farming sims, and it only had like those kind of kiddie games, Kirby's and stuff like that. And it's like, oh yes, that notoriously kiddie game, Bayonetta. So, no, there was stuff. I think it's more a case, obviously, if it doesn't have exactly your particular preference, it can always feel disappointing. Or if you went in expecting Metroid Prime blowouts and multiple Zelda games and all that sort of stuff, you're going to be disappointed. It's the same story with every Direct. People get their expectations yay high, and then you get a whole bunch of interesting but different games that aren't what you were expecting, and you go, oh, I was expecting this and the other, and I didn't get them. So, yeah, there we go. Anyway, look, I've probably forgotten some stuff. I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below, especially if I've forgotten a game and you want to, hey, what about this one? Let me know below. Anyway, until next time.